culture and the lifestyle. Everybody knows it's high pressure, it's very hierarchical. You will get immediate and very blunt feedback. You can't be emotional about it. You can't take it a certain kind of way. You just have to say thank you. And if it was negative feedback, learn to do better so you don't experience that again. If it was positive feedback, it just means you're doing something right, and keep doing that right. FaceTime still matters. So if you show up where others have come to the office at 7 and you saunter in at 8:10 and you're late for the team meeting, that's going to go noticed, like very noticed, and I would avoid that. And so then if the MD is still working, at 7, 8 o'clock at night, and that's common, if you've already left because you want to go meet some friends for some kind of meetup, that will absolutely go noticed, especially if you leave before the seniors do. And so come bonus time, that will be reflected. You will get free dinner staying past 8, and if you stay past 10, which you will most days, you'll always stay past 8 as a junior. And you'll almost always, maybe not on Friday, but almost always Monday through Thursday, you'll be there past 10 for sure. And so if that's the case, we will get you car service home. And so this is in New York, and we don't expect you to be riding the path at some late hour. And so you will have black car service. Your social life is going to revolve pretty much around any kind of transaction team happy hours or closing dinners. You pretty much won't have a social life for these 2 or 3 years. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll get to get away for some kind of holiday. Maybe there'll be some break for like Thanksgiving. You might get a day or two. There might be some break maybe for Christmas or New Year's. You might actually, maybe if you're lucky, if you're not on the transactions trying to close the wire, you might get that week. But count your blessings on those because it's not often. Dress code. So you can't come into the office in like Lululemons or like jeans or whatever, because at any moment you don't know if a client's going to stop by, and they could come by any time of day. And so everybody, the juniors included, even the people answering the phones, have to adhere to a certain aesthetic standard. To go below that standard is basically to invite yourself to go home and change, because you will be told to go home and change. But otherwise, the dress is typically formal. You don't have to wear a tie in tech banking, though for, say, some of our banking, financial services, insurance type clients, they're still very much, they will wear ties. So like this kind of an outfit is kind of standard wear. So how you're dressed would all work. But basically, that is kind of the expectation. For travel, juniors, VPs might do some traveling, but analysts and associates, they will never travel unless it's some like very special circumstance. So the good news is you'll get to stay and work on your deliverables. The bad news is if you like traveling, not until you're a VP. And by the time you're an MD and you're trying to essentially rainmake, you will travel frequently, very frequently. And so, yeah, there's kind of this repeat of the same point. People joke that your closest friends become your team because you see them more than your family. That's not an exaggeration, that is fact. And so the challenges, of course, are the hours. You'll do a lot of the same tasks, some of which is tedious. You'll be doing formatting. You'll be making sure that the pages, the model terms, spreading the comps, that those, you'll see a lot of stuff like, put the comma here. Somebody else will say, no, I want to see a semicolon or a hyphen there. It really will get down to that level. And so at the end of the day, though, when the deliverable is due, ultimately the MD is going to have the call, but you have to put something on their desk that's going to ultimately be something they're comfortable putting in front of the client and signing off. So there's a high burnout and turnover, especially in the analyst pool. Most analysts who are going to leave have already left within 18 months. I call it year 2. But usually if you make it 18, certainly 24 months, you're probably going to make it for that 3rd year. After the 3rd year, you have 2 choices, well 3 really. You can leave to go to MBA school, that's expected. You can leave to go to the buy side, that's if you can get it. Or if you're invited, you can stay and skip MBA school. And so Work-life balance, yeah, there is none of that. For those who like high-pressure situations and work well under pressure, this is a really good career path for you. You'll do very well. For those who don't do well under pressure and hate high-pressure situations, don't like clients yelling at you, don't like your seniors yelling at you and all that kind of stuff, might not be the field for you. And this is M&A. It's even worse if you go into trading. Trading is like the most blunt, the most direct feedback you could ever hope to see. More on that later. But it's a very up and out career path. That said, if you do find this is the path for you, it can be very rewarding. So this was, I think these stats were from Glassdoor. And so New York City M&A for 2025. An analyst typically makes somewhere between a base salary of $100,000 to $125,000, and they could as much as double that with their bonus. And while that sounds appealing, keep in mind you're probably going to be averaging about a 100-hour work week. And so if you want to divide, that compensation by those hours, it's okay, but it might not be the best. Associates, they'll work a pretty similar work week, maybe a little bit less. Their base will go up, so usually you're either fresh out of MBA school or you've been promoted, and so it's a pretty decent pay there. You really start to do pretty like VP. It's like the worst of both. You get paid maybe less than an associate, but the carrot is there. You now know as a VP that pretty much you're on the sell side. You could leave for the buy side, but pretty much going to be on the sell side. And so you've got to get really good at this. So you've got to run very smooth and efficient processes. Once you've run a very smooth and efficient process, then the next thing you've got to start doing is mapping out an industry and figuring out which industry group you want to specialize in. And so you might be across several industry groups as a junior. Usually by the time you're a senior VP, though, you've gravitated towards one where at least 65–70% of your deal flow comes from one very specific industry group. And so that becomes ultimately where you'll plant your flag and make your career. As an MD plus, they get paid pretty well, but the pressure is on. This is very much up or out. You either consistently produce or there's no reason to keep you around. You'll get a pretty good base. Most of what you get paid is going to be based on transactions actually closing. And so the base will be a multi-six-figure base, but the bonus is really what you're in it for as an MD. So you want to make sure that your juniors are definitely doing their job, because if they leave you hanging, then you've got a lot at stake there. So you better really trust your juniors, which is why the pressure is so high all the way around.